Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to the next pre-prep for the next drunk anime review, where we're going to be talking about Full Metal Alchemist Part 4. Before we get to the drinks, as you can see I'm drinking it basic tonight, cracking some dragon's milk. I've actually come up with a recipe for what I'm going to call the Philosopher Stone, which is a big part of the show. It's what Edward and Alphonse are trying to get so that they can bring their restore their bodies back to their full working selves. I've actually come up with two different Philosopher Stones, because in the show there's the Philosopher's Stone that like the priest has that is easily broken, and then there's also the real Philosopher's Stones that like the homunculuses or the homunculi use and Father uses and all that sort of stuff. And so the recipes for each, for the fake Philosopher's Stone, you're going to need a wine. You're going to need a wine like a Sangria, which I have a bottle of Sangria, but recently finished drinking it. And then you're going to need like a Cranberry Sprite or a tropical Sprite. Regular Sprite's fine, but I would recommend flavoring it up just a little bit more just to help it stand out from your regular Spritzer. And you're basically going to make a wine Spritzer out of the Sangria, which is going to give it that reddish hue, but it's a little lighter. It's not as strong as the real Philosopher's Stone, and it's going to be a little it's just going to be weaker as a drink and in theory of what the fake Philosopher's Stone is. To make the real Philosopher's Stone, you're going to need a little more. You're going to need two different rums. You're going to need a light rum and a dark rum. The two light rums I'd recommend trying, either Shellback, because it's really, really sweet, or Bacardi, like the silver Bacardi. And the dark rum, again, you don't want to go too heavy like a Kraken. I'd recommend like a Captain Morgan, something like that. And you're going to basically make 2 shots of white rum, 1 shot of dark rum. And then to give it that reddish hue, I'd recommend something like a Cherry 7-Up or any sort of light reddish drink. Could be like a Watermelon Crush, something like that. That's not heavy in caffeine or has no caffeine and is just a lot of alcohol. Because it's going to knock you on your ass. It's going to make you feel alive, like, you know, the Philosopher's Stone is supposed to do, but it's not going to give you true life. You know what I mean? So that's my recipe for the Philosopher's Stone. I'll be sure to get the ingredients for both and drink them on the finale, the next Full Metal Alchemist, which will be the last episode for the show, because I feel like I should drink it at some point if it's a drink that I'm coming up with. But with that out of the way, we're going to do a shot of this, then make a Sea Beast, which is just these two, and I'm going to drink that and this during the review proper. I'm almost out of Kraken and it bums me out. Make it a little stronger. You know, side note, I wonder why my tolerance is building up. Because I was recently out of town with my girlfriend and her family, and I couldn't get drunk, even though I drank more than everybody there. And it hit me. It's because I do this once a month with you beautiful motherfuckers. Hello world of YouTube, welcome to another episode of Drunk Anime Reviews, where I review anime while a little intoxicated. Today, we're going to be reviewing Part 4 of Full Metal Alchemist, which spans episodes 40 through 52. And while I had complaints about last season, this season honestly is one of the stronger seasons of the show. Like, I'd put it on par with like season 2 and 1 as like excellent, and that's because of its dynamics. So there's a lot of dynamic shifting in this season. Like Alphonse, even his just because pride is such a big component of the season, which I love because pride is so cool. Like, they teased him before, and the tease they made was so awesome and all-encompassing. And while they kind of neuter that in a lot of instances this season, he's still this imposing force because he has Alphonse as a vessel, who is a main character of the show, someone we've grown to love over the last 39 episodes. And the other dynamic I'm glad that they really reinforced this season is Hohenheim is back, and I love that he has this dynamic that's injected into it that was teased earlier in the show. A lot of things they teased in the show come to a head more so in this part than in the last parts. And that's why I think it's one of the strongest seasons. I also love there's always some weird twists and turns going around the corner. Like the death of Envy, even though Envy comes back, and the fucking double play between the Prince and Greed. I love that dynamic, and I think it's the coolest part of the season. When Ling gets back control of his body over Greed, I love the power dynamic between the two of them, and it almost reminds me of like a Venom Eddie Brock sort of scenario, you know. And I think that his battle against the Fuhrer is awesome. Like, I love that is like a part of the show, you know, and I love how that goes. I love that there's a lot of deceit and different interactions of characters like what was in Season 2. Like, I like that Greed/Ling joins Edward, you know, and that's a whole different, like, they have a homunculi on their side. Again, I just feel like there's a lot of misdirection, or there's a lot of, like, guising in the shadows. I can't think of what it is, the word I'm trying to use. But, like when Mustang, he's trying to creep in the shadows, and he works with the Ishvalans and the help of Scar. You know, those guys come together. There's a lot of borders are dropped. A lot of quarrels are dropped to focus on the bigger issue, which that's one of the things I really like about this season. And it brings about some interesting dynamics that were, again, experimented with in, like, the second season, but feel more impactful in this season because of who is working with who and all that sort of stuff. I love that they give a focus to Stronghold's sister. I love how she works into the show so naturally. She feels like an already well-oiled piece in this puzzle. This is to me one of the strongest. Like, this, again, is more build-up to the end. There's a lot of build-up. They're building up to this huge climax. There's a lot of climaxes in here. The season ends with a lot of people in crazy situations, kind of like the end of the second season, with, like, the mannequin soldiers who are fucking creepy. I love the mannequin soldiers. I love the way they look. They really feel like they're just Frankensteinian creations, and I love their dynamic. I love, like, how they look, and I love their very one-note nature. They feel like this wall of force near the end of the show, and they help build near the end of the season, and they build tension in really good ways in the last couple of episodes. There's a lot of cool shit in this season. I love it. I love this shit. The season is awesome. There's some there's some tragedy, there's some misdirection, there's some sneakiness, and there's a lot of power shifting dynamics. And again, it feels very satisfying because a lot of what they build up to culminates to something worthwhile. You see characters like Mustang and Scar find a new goal in all of this madness. Again, the brotherly love isn't really lost, even though Alphonse is torn, you know, because he's under the control of pride and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot that they toy with, and I adore it. It works because they've spent 3 seasons with these characters. You really grow to love these characters because they're written really well, and they have a lot of depth to them, and their depth is further explored in this season, which is a lot less dull than the last season, while still planting seeds. There's still stuff that's clearly being built up to. I think it starts off strong but a little slow and ends really strongly. I love that the Armstrong siblings get to do their shit together. I love the ambushing of the Ishvalans on the city. I love that everything is converging and coming to a head, and this is just, it's got a lot of action, it's got a lot of shit going on, but it doesn't feel clustered. Like, it feels well focused. They do a good job at bouncing between everybody, you know, and there's a lot of surprises in this season. And I feel like if you kind of were holding out after last season, you didn't know how to feel if you're watching this with me, you should watch season 4. It's got a lot of good moments in it. I feel like these reviews for the longer shows are going to get
not shorter, but they're going to get less selly. Like, I don't have to sell the show to you on this point, because if you've watched the first 3 seasons, you're probably already invested. You've probably already watched it, and you just want to see what I think of it. But, dude, this shit's fucking awesome. Like, I like how, again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because Pride seemed like this really strong, imposing force when he was introduced, and I don't want to say they quickly subvert his strengths, but I like that the show is clever enough to realize that this is how you would go about stopping this powerful homunculus. You know, it's good. It's a good season. It's a really good season of the show. I love this season of the show because there's a lot of cool shit. There's a lot of cool imagery. There's a lot of cool things within it. Like, it, again, I kind of trash talk last season, but this season's really good. It's good aces for me. I like that they didn't necessarily, I mean, they fleshed out Hohenheim and Father, which I also really liked. I like that shit a lot, because those characters didn't feel underdeveloped, but I'm glad that they gave them more time to breathe and all that sort of shit. And it made sense because their inclusion in the show is a lot more heavy in this season. So it made sense for them to delve more into their history, and I like that they did that. That's my thoughts on Season 4, Full Metal Alchemist. What do you think? Do you love the show? Do you love this season? What are your thoughts about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Next month, I'm going to do One Punch Man Season 2, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to go. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your support here and on Patreon. I have been Foul Rag. You guys have good days, lives, and situations. And I'll see you another day.